Hello everybody and welcome back to Talks with Tina, where we are pursuing our most true and authentic self by what? Uncovering our roots. Y'all see the hair? It's giving fine rich auntie, and it's giving, I'm running for president. Anywho, in the spirit of getting straight to the point, today's topic is comfortable enough to be me. Excuse my mama laughing. I don't know what's so funny to her, but it's funny, and she's the main character. Anywho, the topic is comfortable enough to be me. And a few months ago, I made a video called Sensitive Enough to Be Me. And basically that video just touched on me understanding that I'm sensitive enough to understand why I need to advocate for myself, my flaws, whatever it is, that I'm sensitive enough to understand me. I had to get to a point where I understood me in order to be comfortable with me. And if y'all, this is my second take on the video, and that just blessed me right then and there. Thank you, my guy. I had to really get to a point to where I understood me to be comfortable with me, and even to be comfortable with myself sounds odd, but it's also my reality. And as much as we like to portray, I'm so confident, I'm so funny, but when it comes time to truly deal with your demons, deal with your dark side, deal with your skeletons, deal with everything that makes up all of who you are and not all of who you portray to be, then that's when you really have to face you. And so I would say planning this conference has really made me face me. And I'm very transparent with you guys, as far as like telling you guys like where I struggle with my self-esteem in a sense and my confidence. That was a really big hurdle, and for majority of my life I would say I was pretty confident, but I didn't realize it was a false depiction of what confidence was. It was confident with the exterior, but I was never confident with the interior of who I was. And what does that mean? That means as long as I can only let you see the outside of me, I was good. I can strut like I mean it. I can talk, with great poise and clarity, and everything looks fine on the exterior, but the interior, y'all, it's broken. And I think if we can, but I've gotten to this point to realize that you truly have to acknowledge your brokenness. And as much as we hate it, as much as we don't like to be accountable, and as much as we just truly be like, there's nothing wrong with me, like that's surface level. I went to therapy, and you quit your first therapy session. Like, stop playing. You know what I mean? Like, really deal with yourself, and then you will start to understand that those broken bits and pieces of you are literally what will crush you in the long run. And I'm glad kind of at an early age that I'm able to, identify these things and to realize what is crushing me at such an early age, which will be detrimental to me at a later age, because I don't want to be dealing with this stuff when I'm older. You know what I mean? So comfortable enough to be me. Like I was saying, planning this conference has really made me look at the internal. And as many of you know by now, the name of the conference is Love Me Always, but the theme is Broken But Better. And as I go through the weeks and weeks and weeks of writing and journaling down, kind of how I'm feeling, I have a personal journal. Where is it? It's right next to me. Hold on, y'all. It's right next to me. I have started using this binder as my personal Broken But Better journey. And at first I didn't know why I was doing it. I was like, I got a word, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna start journaling. I journal all the time, as y'all know. But when I really began to sit down every week, and I try to make this my mission to write at least every week. I don't hit it every day, but if I get to sit down every week and at least journal what's happened in the week, to see the way that God has moved, the miracles that he's done as far as the conference, then I'm doing something right. But it wasn't until I became intentional about writing down what was affecting me, writing down how I felt, confronting some of these new levels that I'm approaching. Y'all, planning a conference is not just, oh, we're gonna put an event together and we just gonna get a couple of speakers and we're gonna get, and we're gonna have a field day, just book a place. No, I'm starting to learn that this is a lot more business than it is, pleasure. And there's a lot of business components, and even for someone like myself, I'm 25 years old, and I would like to say that I'm pretty intelligent and I know a lot about business, but you don't know a lot about business when it comes to when you're dealing with people, when you're dealing with a large number of people, and you're dealing with a large number of finances, and you're dealing with so many background things, right? And so what that began to do to me was make me feel small, make me feel inadequate, like I don't know what I'm doing. And typically when I reach those hurdles, what I'm starting to identify is that I just shut down and I don't go and face these things anymore. And it's really like a quitter spirit. Like, are you really a quitter when you got a whole bunch of people like relying on you now? Are you going to really be a quitter when you have this whole thing, when God has really placed something inside of you? Are you really going to be a quitter? And so that's like probably one of the hardest things that I face right now, is to not quit on myself. And so how does that deal with being comfortable with me? How do I make it full circle? How do I make it make sense of your life? Comfortable being me is that I had to learn to stop quitting when things got hard. I had to stop quitting when I felt small. I had to stop quitting when things didn't go my way. I had to stop quitting when I didn't understand the aspects of me that were being pulled on. Well, why are these people calling me? Well, Buttercup, you're the one planning the conference. Of course they're going to call you. But how can you see yourself in a leadership position? How do you see yourself coordinating things that seem way beyond your scope of knowledge? Like, I have truly learned, one, that I'm bigger than what I seem. When I feel small, I'm bigger than that. And so I had to learn to be comfortable with the bigger version of me that is adequate, and that is that has literally went through the breaking. I'm going through the breaking. I went through the breaking. There's many stages of breaking that I've had to go through that have now made me, sufficient in being better. To shameless plug, broken but better. So I say all of that to say is that when you get to a point where you stop running away from your triggers, when you stop running away from the things that make you feel small, when you stop running away from everything that makes you feel diminished as a person, because you've learned how to set your boundaries, you've learned how to communicate and advocate for yourself. Okay, but now how do you do that with you? There it is. There it is. Take a picture of it. How do you do that with you? How do you advocate with yourself? How do you set a boundary with yourself? Okay, I'm not going to quit. Okay, you can do this until you accomplish this and this. But you make it realistic. Don't be toxic to yourself, because we can be also very toxic to our own being. But how do you advocate to yourself, for yourself, by yourself, to be comfortable with you? And so that's what I'm learning right now, is to truly be comfortable with myself. And it's not, now that I've kind of like reached this point where I'm learning it, I am very comfortable with myself. As y'all know, the whole breakout thing happened. It's healing. I have makeup on today, but it's still on my chest. And typically this would have me like crawling in a shell. I'm comfortable with me. I'm comfortable with me to still step out bold and proud and be like, what it do? What's up? It's a part of me now at this rate. It's a part of me. I got little freckles on my chest. But I really want you guys to understand that you have to be comfortable with yourself too. A lot of us seek companionship and all these other things because we are not comfortable with ourselves. We're confident in ourselves, the external, but we're not comfortable with the internal. Become comfortable with the internal things, and then the external would be a full manifestation of what you are doing on the inside. That's the season that I'm in right now. It's working on the internal, that the external is just a direct reflection of what's happening. And I feel like that's what I've always said, is that anything that I'm doing in life, I want my life to be a reflection of that. And so if my life sucks, guess what? Something I'm doing is sucking. But as long as I'm doing right, and I'm doing the work to make sure that I'm comfortable with me, then everything else on the outside would show. I don't ever want to put a false image of what is going on. Healing is not something that's cute and fun. It's fun when you allow it to be, because you begin to enjoy the sides of you that are no longer hurt. And when you begin to enjoy the sides that are no longer hurt, you can begin to enjoy life. A lot of us like to live with hurt, and quite frankly, it's time to grow past that. And as frank as that is, we really have to learn to grow past our hurt, because we can only blame people for so long. You can only stay in a cycle of pain for so long. You can only stay in a cycle of mistrust for so long. You can only stay in a cycle of loneliness for so long before you truly have to look at yourself and say, it's time that I do the work. It's time that I take a look at me, because how can I be comfortable with anybody else if I'm not comfortable with myself? And I really think that's the chat, guys. Be comfortable with yourself. Be sensitive enough to be you. You are your own being. You are beautiful and unique in your own way. And it is not up to anyone else to determine who that is. If you can't distinguish who you are for yourself, then you allow anybody else to put a label on you. Know who you are. Be true to yourself and not anybody else. We ain't got time to be out here trying to emulate the Instagram models and all kind of fun things. Be yourself, guys. And I think that's the chat. If you haven't already, make sure y'all go buy y'all tickets. I know that this is going to be a life-changing atmosphere. It's life-changing for me already. It's altering every perspective of my being that I couldn't even imagine. I'm growing so much better, literally, in this process of planning this conference, of being broken but better. I am truly being broken but better. To know what the internal breaking is, just as my external has received a breaking, my internal is receiving that breaking, and it is reshaping and reforming in the most beautiful way, to where I must stay authentic to me, where I must stay true to myself, and where I must stay comfortable with myself in order to continue this healing process and to heal alongside with you guys. So I love you all. Click the link in my bio for a ticket, and I will see y'all in February or on the next video or both. That's the chat. Bye.